Alright, Elvis fans, let's delve into the history of Elvis Presley on this date of June 17th. So, 1933, Gladys Smith and Vernon Presley eloped and were married in the county of Pontotoc, where Vernon was not known, both lying about their ages. Vernon gave his age as 22 and Gladys 19. While Gladys was of legal age, Vernon was not even 17. Gladys would hide her real age for much of her life. Now, in 1955, after a month of booking gigs in larger venues in Dallas and Houston, Colonel Parker arranged a meeting with Elvis Presley's manager Bob Neal, resulting in an agreement that saw the Colonel handle Presley's gigs and career strategy from then on. Elvis performed in the Roundup Hall High School Gym in Stamford, Texas at 9 p.m. on this date. That'd be 1955. So in 1956, Elvis was at home at Audubon Drive with June Wienico. He bought his mother some new hats, and she enjoyed trying those on. Now, this photo here is just a great little picture of Gladys right there. So then we're, 1957. Elvis actually completed still photography by Virgil Apker for his movie Jailhouse Rock. One of my favorite movies. I think it shows Elvis Presley's acting skills. He was quite the jerk in that movie. And I enjoyed just the role that he played there as somebody that was, I guess he was like a broody, sullen rebel. One of my favorite movies of all time. And that's a photo right there. Well, the photo is still from Jailhouse Rock. In 1959, well, we know that Elvis Presley went from the greatest rock and roller in history and movie star to the U.S. Mail, GI Blues. Yeah, so military service was in Fort Hood, Texas in 1959 on this date. Elvis was sweating it out. Texas is a hot place. So 1959, still in Paris, after a press conference, Elvis was mobbed, sitting at a sidewalk cafe. Elvis spent the rest of his day sleeping and went to all different kinds of clubs at night. Now, you guys know that I just released a video on that Paris trip, so go take a look at that. 1960, Elvis wrote to the U.S. Army, requested he would be placed on standby rather than active reserve, as his work required him to travel a lot. On this date, in 1961, he was recording GI Blues, the movie. Minnie Mae Dodger Presley, formerly Hood, was born on the 17th of June in 1890. Wow. In Fulton, Itawamba County, Mississippi. And she spent her 71st birthday on this day at Graceland, of course. That would have been 1961. Now, these pictures here are some of the photos that I shared on the Paris trip. Elvis the Giver, the Paris, France edition. 1962, Priscilla Babalu whatever her name is, arrives from Germany on the weekend for a 2-week visit. After lengthy negotiations, Elvis convinced her parents to allow her to fly to L.A., where he assured them that she would be well chaperoned in the Griffith Park home of Custom King George Barris and his wife. These are still photos, of course, of Elvis Presley in the Army in Paris. 1963, Elvis Presley was recording one of the great movies of all time. Viva Las Vegas! That's right, baby. 1960 with Ann Margaret, of course. In 1965, Elvis had the #1 song in the United Kingdom, Crying in the Chapel. That is such a beautiful song. One of those songs that I really rarely ever attempt singing, because he had that high voice that was so sweet, so clear, so crisp, and that vibrato extremely hard to match even closely. Also, he was in 65, he was recording Frankie and Johnny. Now, moving on to 1968, and I know we still got some photos going on of Elvis Presley that's not 1968, but I want you to enjoy these photos and have some time to kind of think about where he was at that point. In 68, he reported to the rehearsals at the NBC studios in Burbank, California at 1 p.m. For a meeting with Billy Goldenberg, Stephen Binder's musical arranger. From 3 to 5, there was a dance rehearsal with Jamie Rogers. Lance DeGault was present also and helped Elvis in his dance sequences. This schedule was repeated for the next 2 days. In 1969, Elvis Presley releases Clean Up Your Own Backyard. That particular song, while you look at Priscilla here, was included in the film The Trouble with Girls and How to Get Into It, and was later included on the budget RCA Camden album Almost in Love. Although The Trouble with Girls is set in the 1920s, several lyrics within the song are anachronistic for the era, such as a reference to armchair quarterbacks, a term not coined until the advent of television sports broadcasting decades later. From Elvis in Memphis, it's released to favorable reviews. The album peaked at number 13 on the Billboard 200, number 2 on the country charts, and number 1 in the UK. And its single In the Ghetto, one of my favorite songs written by Mac Davis, reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. The album was certified gold by the Recording Industry Association of America in '70. In later years, it garnered favorable reviews, while it was ranked number 190 on the Rolling Stone magazine's 2003 list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. 1972, Elvis performed at the Chicago Stadium, 2:30 and 8:30 p.m. At a 2:30 crowd was 15,000, and at 8:30 the crowd was 20,000. And Elvis wore his blue nail suit with the original belt and white cape for that. During this week in 1973, Elvis attended screenings at either the Memphian or Crosstown pretty much every night until he had to go back on tour on the 20th. So in the year of 1974, as we're looking at that great Elvis in Memphis album, Elvis performed at the Louisiana State University Assembly in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 8:30 p.m., and the crowd was 15,000 strong. Elvis wore the 1974 Eagle suit with the original belt. So here's a review in Baton Rouge, Louisiana for June 17th of 1974 for the 8:30 show. Elvis Presley delights Capacity House at LSU Center last night by Vernon Alston, The State Times. This was written on June 18th about the June 17th show. Elvis Presley, nurtured by fallout from the country rock explosion he set off about 17 years ago, brought joy to 15,000 fans at LSU Assembly Center last night. As an entertainer, once a prodigy, now something of a phenomenon, Elvis has survived his own mythology. The innocent earthiness has worn away, but the peculiar incandescence of his personality remains, and like an ancient athlete, he conserves his resources. He even makes a joke of this. Instead of the uninhibited thrusts and bounds that once unleashed floods of parody and prudery, he would barely bump his famed pelvis. As if on cue, cooperative followers scream their delighted understanding of what experience can do. Elvis has mastered subtlety and the show business side of his act. He has abandoned the blatancy of exhibition for the technique of theater to make sexiness an illusion that will stay with his friends. Elvis put one on over those heavy rockers who hardly stop short of X-rated films, based on stage, what they're saying on this article, to make their shows interesting. So Elvis doesn't do that anymore, and he puts one over on those heavy rockers. Elvis has also expanded into glamorous staging and sonics. He is backed by a fine stage band, 2 electric guitars, electric bass, drums, piano, acoustic guitar, and chorus. With all that, plus unparalleled press agentry, it is still Presley's voice and musicianship that secures his appeal. The quality and style go a long way in providing satisfaction. The audience seemed fully sated even though Elvis's part of the show lasts barely 45 minutes. A dozen or so 3-minute favorites, and that was it. We heard CC Rider, Hound Dog, Why Me Lord, Love Me Tender, I Can't Stop Loving You, a very persuasive American trilogy, and Help Me, a new one. There were others, but all were mellower and more polished than in the early days. Elvis treats his old hits like cherished possessions. Elvis then he introduced the members of a string group whose lead bass is Duke Bardwell from Baton Rouge. Also from Louisiana is James Burton, lead guitar, a Shreveporter. The warm-up portion of the program was lively and first-rate musically. Singers were a male group called Voice and a vocally stimulating female trio, the Sweet Inspirations. Both groups, plus the Stamps Quartet, gathered around Elvis for choral backup. Jackie Cohane, a competent nightclub type comedian, generated some laughter as the opener. The Presley show will be on stage again tonight, but like the first performance, it is completely sold out. 1975, Elvis was released from the hospital on this date. 1977, Elvis performed at the Southwest Missouri State University Hammond Center in Springfield, Missouri at 8:30 p.m. The crowd was 9,000 and Elvis wore a Mexican sundial suit with original belt. This was the first show of what would be his last tour ever. So on this date, 1977, Elvis started his last tour that he did on this earth. Here's another review from the Springfield Newsreader. The concert date was June 17, 1977, in Springfield, Missouri. Elvis fans may set Hammond's record. So ticket prices for Friday night's Elvis Presley concert in Hammond Center, an event that is expected to draw the largest crowd ever at Southwest Missouri State University facility, apparently have leveled off at about $50 each. That's pretty expensive for tickets back then. These aren't tickets available from Hammond Center's box office. They were sold out less than one day, but persons who bought the tickets to resell, that's what I thought, at higher prices are reaping the profits. They were gouging ticket prices. Prices, however, have dropped a little since early May, when the tickets were selling for as much as $150 each. Persons offering the tickets to Presley's fans haven't been shy. The Daily News and Leader and Press have carried about 15 classified advertisements a day for the past several days for Presley tickets, and numerous other persons have offered tickets for sale in the publication of Penny Power. Telephone calls Wednesday night to persons advertising tickets for sale indicate the prices range from $25 to $50 per ticket, with $50 the prevailing price. The tickets sold initially for $15 each, meaning that one person who sold 5 tickets for $50 each yesterday profited $175. Aside from individuals offering tickets for sale, some businesses are offering tickets to customers as a sales gimmick. Allen Ness Motors of 1412 North Glenstone has given 2 tickets to anyone who buys a used car. We've had pretty good luck with it, said Ness. They usually are looking for cars anyways and see my sign and they just stop. Ness says he's given away 8 tickets and has 12 more available. Asked how he had 20 tickets since each buyer was limited to 10, he said, I just accumulated them. 4 more tickets have been since given away at the Dairy Queen, 11112 St. Louis Street. They were given away in lots of 2 each and drawings held June 3rd and 10th. How did customers respond to the drawing? Well, everybody wanted in on it as many times as they could, said an employee. Arrangements for the concert itself were finalized this morning during a meeting involving Hammond Center officials and Presley's lead man, said Chancey Van Pelt, center director. Presley will arrive in Springfield by private plane sometime Friday, a SMS spokesman said, but no details of the entertainer's schedule have been released. Arrangement for Presley's personal and security and other needs will be handled by his staff directly, Van Pelt said. Persons attending the concert will be allowed to take cameras in, he said, but no tape recorders or television recording equipment will be allowed. To help accommodate the sellout crowd, the doors will be opened at 7 p.m. for the concert, which begins at 8:30, Van Pelt said, adding that he hopes the crowd will space out its arrival between 7 and 8:15. The largest crowd in the history of the facility is expected, as all 9,085 seats have been sold, Van Pelt said. We're hoping that people get in their seats by showtime, which is 8:30. We want to make it a good event and need to be cooperative of people so they can easily get to and from the facility. We're encouraging carpools wherever possible, Van Pelt said. A number of parking lots will be available in the vicinity of Hammond Center, a university spokesman noted. 2 lots, the east lot at Harrison and Dollison, offering 400 spaces, and the south lot at Monroe, Holland-Madison intersection holding 425 cars will be open at a charge of 50 cents per car. 2 lots at the professional building, Cherry and Kimbrough, also will be available for Hammond Center patrons Friday, and other university lots in the general area for the multipurpose recreation building at no charge. 3 extra ticket takers will be on duty to help get people through the door, Van Pelt said. Security arrangement for the concert will be the same as for any other sellout event, according to Van Pelt. The center will hire 22 reserve police officers to patrol the building and direct traffic. The officers will be directing traffic at more intersections than usual because of expected heavy traffic, said Reserve Police Chief John Skinner, but no other extra measures are planned. For those who don't get a chance to see Presley tomorrow night, or get to see enough of him during the concert, the Tower Theater. Then we have another concert date, June 17, 1977, 8:30 p.m. in Springfield, Missouri. Elvis Doesn't Need That It Anymore by Bill Tatum, Springfield News Leader. So June 18, 1977 was the publishing date of this review, and of course the concert was June 17, 1977. We're tempted to fall back on cliches and tell you that Elvis Presley still has it. It, of course, is that magical touch with an audience, that style or talent that captivates the masses. The truth is that he doesn't need it anymore. The audience brings its own it and serves it up to the king of rock and roll on a silver platter at a lifting of his diamond-studded pinky. Presley can still sing, make no mistake. His way with a real rock and roller song can make a middle-aged listener young again. But he's packaged, managed, and merchandised to the ninth degree, and fabulously wealthy for it. Last night at the Hammond Center of the Southwest Missouri State University campus, the capacity audience was ready for him in any condition, this side of mute. They were ready for him with high decibel screams and red roses to toss on stage. He doesn't need to pump his pelvis anymore. He hasn't for years. Elvis can get more mileage out of a tiptoe point lift of the knee than most performers could milk from a striptease. He spent the first 15 minutes of his portion of the show teasing and toying with the audience, especially the vocal female segment, coaxing even more hysteria from the crowd with toned-down gyrations and only slightly suggestive body English. So, the great review right there. Of course, on this date, worldwide 50 Gold Awards hit volume number 1, Elvis, 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 was selling a lot of records. I tell you what. That's Elvis in general. He sold so many records, billions of records. Well, that's all I got for this video. TCB TLC. Till next time, take care of yourselves and appreciate those around you. We only have each day that we're given. All right? This is Rare Elvis Photos on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Like, share, subscribe, and become a member if you can.